More from the Telegraph now, Leo. Further evidence of how far this once sound and reliable organ has fallen, in fact, in its coverage of the Daniel Penny case.
So the Marine who put the homeless man in a deadly chokehold is a Good Samaritan, according to Ron DeSantis, the Florida boss who's possibly going to announce he's going to be running for president soon. So Daniel Penny is a former Marine who was recorded on a New York City subway earlier this month putting Jordan Neely in a chokehold and has been denounced as a vigilante by commentators and celebrated as a vigilante by others. So Jordan Neely, I mean, the way you read it in the paper, including the Telegraph, you'd think Jordan Neely was just some regular guy going about his business. He
muttering or something.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was threatening people. He was abusive. He was going. There's a reason people stepped in to stop him, and he had 42 prior arrests, including for kidnapping a 7-year-old girl, punching a 67-year-old woman in the face. So he clearly had mental health issues and was violent and aggressive. And this seems to be this case seems to be a Rorschach blot test.
Yeah.
So right-wing people look at it and say, no, this is a man. We've got a lawless society now since Black Lives Matter, and all the politicians came out and said we're not going to prosecute. Now we've got people have to step up and provide community policing.
I mean, I would say the New York subway, from what I understand, it's 20 years since I was there, but the New York subway is not anything like as dangerous as it is in the British imagination very often. Apparently, it's a good deal more calm than it used to be in the 80s. I think the 70s and 80s it was becoming lawless.
It's like it's kind of unusual. Bus network.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual that this kind of thing breaks out. But
this is very similar to something that happened when I lived in New York, which I lived in New York for many, many years. In 1984, the Bernie Getz story, where he was basically threatened or attacked or being bugged by four black guys, and he shot him. And they didn't die. One of them eventually, I think, died. And but it was such an emotional thing that it basically, I think, it knocked some sense into New Yorkers and realized we've got a very serious problem. And I believe from that point onward, crime went down.
Right, yeah.
Whether someone should be actually shooting people on their subway cars.
But did he get the same? Because this guy's been charged with manslaughter.
Yeah.
So he stepped in to help to stop Jordan Neely threatening and putting people at risk of harm, and which you'd want people to do. If my wife, if my children were on the train and
this is what annoys me, because the Telegraph, which you would think of at least neutral, if not an actual right-leaning newspaper, has said Neely was reportedly acting in an erratic manner. It was a lot more than erratic, a lot more threatening. And then he says, it says that Penny's activities were described by commentators as denounced as a vigilante by commentators, as if that's a universal. It's been a very, very even split left and right, as you say. And, I think it's a Soros DA again, isn't it? Which is another way in which Soros is currently creating.
Well, it's the same DA that was involved in Trump's.
Yeah. It's been politicised.
So that DA's under a lot of pressure.
Well, he's got a huge GoFundMe, Penny now. I think he's well funded. Yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting case. The Guardian now, Lewis, and the gripping story of Vice's collapse. Yeah,
this is a magazine media company which started off as very alternative and is now, I guess, basically mainstream. And it's Vice files for bankruptcy protection amid cut price sale to consortium. And what happened is that this company during the boom was valued at $6 billion.
It's insane.
Insane. And according to the commentators that I've heard, is that they are a victim of go woke, go broke.
Yeah.
And they had heavy funding by Disney and Soros. Mentioned Soros again. They'd moved from Montreal to Brooklyn, and that says a lot. It's like we're very, and they were on the wrong side of a lot of issues. I would say it's a wrong side.
They weren't questioning power anymore. I mean, Vice used to be famous for its reportage. It would send, journalists into really dangerous places and report the actual truth and get boots on the ground. And then it just changed into, how we could make, homeless people queer you know,
listicles and the BuzzFeed type stuff.
Yeah.
I remember, they made some amazing. They're still up on YouTube. The one where they go to Liberia, and follow around the sort of warlords and the various gangs there, and General Butt Naked. It was this. He was literally going to battle butt naked. It was extraordinary stuff, and you absolutely would not see it on. It was the genuine. You know, you won't see this on mainstream media stuff. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I assume their financial model changed a little bit. I mean, Trump broke a lot of this stuff, didn't he? Because suddenly nobody really cared about what was happening in Liberia. They just wanted endless stuff that fed into the culture war that he created.
I think what people want today is they want to feel connected to what they're watching, whether it's on television like us. You know, I think we're connecting with the people. I think GB News really connects with the people. I meet the people. They're in love with GB News, and they're in love with me. That was so Trumpy in the way I said that.